Alright, lesson 5.5 is about inequalities in triangles, and our objectives are to use inequalities involving angles of triangles and use inequalities involving sides of triangles. So, key concepts. First is the comparison property of inequality. This says if A equals B plus C and C is greater than 0, then A is greater than B. Because you can't add two numbers that are smaller than A, or you can't add two numbers that are larger than A and come up with A. Then the corollary to the triangle exterior angle theorem. This one says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is greater than the measure of each of its remote interior sides. So this angle 1 here is greater than angle 2 plus angle 3 is what that's saying. If we write this down, the measure of angle 1 is greater than the measure of angle 2, and the measure of angle 1 is also greater than the measure of angle 3. So this angle is bigger than either of these two. Remote interior means it doesn't touch that angle on the outside. Theorem 5.10 says if two sides of a triangle are not congruent, then the larger angle lies opposite the longer side. So if we look at what that means, so like here it says if xy is greater than if xz is greater than xy, so xz is greater than xy, so then the measure of angle y, which is across from xz, is greater than the measure of angle z. So if you look, xy would have been across from this angle. Okay, so if you know one of the angles is larger, then the side across from it is also larger. Okay, theorem 5.11 says if two angles of a triangle are not congruent, the longer side lies opposite the larger angle. Okay, so this one said, okay, I know one side is bigger than the other, so that tells me one angle is bigger than the other. 5.11 says we know one angle is bigger than the other, so we know one side is bigger than the other. So in this case, they're saying angle A is greater than angle B. B goes with AC across over here, and angle A goes with BC across on this side. So BC is greater than AC. And theorem 5.12, the triangle inequality theorem, says the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. So if I add LM and MN, that better be bigger than LN. If I add MN and LM, then that has to be greater than LM. And if I add LN and LM, that has to be bigger than MN. So two sides, when you add them together, have to be greater than the third side. Okay, let's take a look at some examples using that information. First, applying the corollary. So explain why the measure of angle 4 is greater than the measure of angle 5. So we're looking at angle 4 here and angle 5 up here. Angle 4 is an exterior angle because it's on the outside of triangle XYC. Okay, so it's an exterior angle here. The corollary to the exterior angle theorem states that the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is greater than each of its remote interior angles. So remote interior angles to 4 would be 2 and 3. So the measure of angle 4 is greater than angle 2. If we look at 2 and 5, these two lines are parallel. And they're cut by the transversal BC. So these are actually corresponding because they're in the same spot on an X. Right? So angle 2 and angle 5 are corresponding angles formed by the transversal BC. Because AB is parallel to XY, which they marked here for us, you can conclude that angle 2 is congruent to angle 5 by the corresponding angles postulate. So since they're congruent, the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 5. So if we substitute the measure of angle 5 for the measure of angle 2, in the inequality, the measure of angle 4 is greater than the measure of angle 2. We also know the measure of angle 4 is greater than the measure of angle 5. So we used what we knew about exterior angles, then we figured out how we could show that 2 and 5 were the same, and we proved what we were looking for. Alright, number 2, applying theorem 510. Triangle RGY, RG is 14, GY is 12, RY is 20. Theorem 510 states that if two sides of a triangle are not congruent, then the larger angle lies opposite the longer side. No two sides of RGY are congruent, so the largest angle lies opposite the longest side. So the longest side is YR. Opposite YR is angle G. The shortest side is GY, and the angle opposite GY is angle R. So from smallest to largest, the smallest angle we said was R. The largest angle is angle G. So that means angle Y is the middle size because 14 is across from Y. 14 is between 12 and 20. So that one's pretty simple. Number 3, use the triangle inequality theorem. Can a triangle have the sides with the lengths 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, and 4 centimeters? So according to the triangle inequality theorem, the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. 2 plus 2 equals 4, and so that means the sum is not greater than 4. So no, a triangle can't have sides with these lengths. Okay, part B, we got 8, 15, and 12. Well, 8 plus 15 is greater than 12. 8 plus 12 is greater than 15, and 15 plus 12 is greater than 8. So yes, a triangle can have sides with these lengths. Alright, and number 4, finding possible side lengths. In triangle FGH, side FG is 9. So let's just draw a triangle here. FG is 9. F8 or GH is 17. Describe the possible lengths of FH. So we know that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. So FH, whatever it is, plus 9 has to be greater than 17. If we subtract 9 to the other side, FH has to be greater than 8. FH plus 17 has to be greater than 9. We subtract 17 to the other side, that would give us negative 8. And 9 plus 17 has to be greater than FH. And if we add those together, we get 26. So then FH must be longer than 8. And we know it's definitely going to be greater than negative 8 because you can't have a negative distance. And then it has to be shorter than 26 because FH is less than 26. Okay, there are a few check for understanding problems to do. Go ahead and try those out on your own. I'm going to make a video for you to watch about how to do them, so try them out on your own, and then you can watch the video to check your answers. If you have any questions, make sure you're asking.